to the common man on the street, I'm talking of myself, you'd realize that what they truly intend to see is a justice system that works. So behind the complaints, behind the unfavorable words that you hear, or sometimes you see or you read about, deep down we have and we see a Nigerian that truly wants the justice system to work. And that's the reason we are gathered here this morning. And we appreciate you for your efforts, your commitment to ensuring that this continues to happen and that the reform is possible.
As the Chief Executive Officer of the Public and Private Development Center, I have had the opportunity to engage with various development issues across Nigeria and Africa. And from this vantage point, I can confidently confirm and affirm that PPDC is at the forefront of driving transformative change, championing equitable access to justice for all.
In 2000, between the 19th and the 30th of June, the World Bank, USAID, DFID, the government of Japan, and the European Union supported a legal and judicial system evaluation in Nigeria, an assessment. In a session where top legal minds, jurists gathered like we are gathered here today, a number of constraints were identified 24 years ago. One, the lack of will to reform. Two, the lack of infrastructure and capacity. Three, archaic laws requiring changes. Four, underfunding. And under underfunding, they explained that this also related to poor and unrealistic remuneration of judges and other personnel, including police and court officials, lack of modern facilities, technology like we call it today, corruption, inadequate staffing, poor training, including virtual absence of continuing education program for staff, court congestion, poor record keeping in courts, poor evidence handling.
A round of applause for our Royal Father, His Royal Highness Alhaji Muhammadu Bakindo Aliyu Mustafa Lamido Fombina, as we take his goodwill message this morning.
I have his mandate to convey his appreciation to the conveners of access to justice for having innovated something that works for the masses of Nigeria. He equally asked me to convey to this August gathering that he really appreciates this particular, what he described as a messiah, meaning something that really works for the common man. Because as a royal father, the people that are mostly affected by injustice are the common man. Now, this program has really alleviated, reduced the sufferings of masses from facing injustice in all parts of this country.
Honorable Justice David G. Mann. A round of applause as he comes forward to the podium to give his goodwill message on behalf of all chief judges present.
The 2024 Access to Justice Parley, organized by PPDC, marks a significant milestone in our collective pursuit of justice for all Nigerians. And as custodians of our legal system, our collaborative efforts are crucial in breaking down the barriers that impede access to justice for our ordinary citizens. The challenges we face across different jurisdictions are substantial, and they range from court congestion to procedural complexities as well as technological gaps. However, our collective presence here today reflects a laudable determination to confront these challenges head-on and forge practical solutions.
It is with profound respect and a shared sense of purpose that I address you today at this gathering organized by the Public-Private Development Center. This Parley and the unveiling of the 2024 Justice Sector Assessments are timely, necessary, and emblematic of our collective dedication to advancing a justice system that truly serves every Nigerian. We want to extend our heartfelt commendation to PPDC for its vision, its steadfast commitment, and its diligence in producing these insightful assessments. By uniting us here, you are promoting a shared responsibility that transcends institutional boundaries, emphasizing the power of collaborative action in the justice sector. Your work embodies a critical truth which entails that access to justice is the foundation upon which human rights, democracy, and social equity are built.
The representative of the Inspector General of Police this morning in our presence, CP Ohiozoba Ehiede. A round of applause as he comes to the podium for his goodwill message.
It is with great pleasure that I, on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, extend warm felicitations to the organizers, distinguished guests, and fellow stakeholders gathered here today for the Access to Justice Parley at the unveiling of the 2024 Justice Sector Assessment. We are focused on promoting justice, equity, and fairness. We also remain resolute in our collective commitment to strengthening justice delivery system in Nigeria. So this event marks a significant milestone in our quest for a more inclusive and effective justice sector, and we are honored to be part of this noble endeavor.
My role is very simple. As the chairman of MBA Buhari branch, I've been asked, just as I arrived this hall, to speak on behalf of the various chairmen here present, of which I can see Garki branch here present, and I'm sure the others will be here. We want to say, as the Nigerian Bar Association, our motto and our slogan is promoting the rule of law. And you agree that one of the cardinal principles of the rule of law, as advanced by the legendary and classical philosopher A.V. Dicey, is that no man should be above the law. And all we are doing is ensuring access to justice, regardless of status and regardless of where we are in society.
Okay, so let's quickly take a goodwill message from CSO Rep Maurice Chukwu of Amnesty International. Please come forward for your goodwill message. A round of applause for him as he makes his way forward. We appreciate you.
Good morning, everyone. So on behalf of the Director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Mr. Isa Sonusi, and indeed the management of Amnesty International Nigeria, I extend our heartfelt congratulations and felicitations to the organizers of this event and thank them for advancing the cause of criminal justice across the country. Thank you very much and have a wonderful session, everyone. Thank you.
All right, just before I call up the very last goodwill message for today so we can move on quickly, on behalf of the Forum of Attorney Generals of the 36 states and the FCT, AG Yobe, we have Saleh Samanfa Esquire. Please A round of applause for him as he comes forward for his goodwill message. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, all. On behalf of the body of Attorney General, we wish to fully associate ourselves with the laudable efforts of PPDC in reforming our judicial system. It is a matter of common knowledge to all of us, and indeed the general public, that our judicial system requires serious overhaul if we really want to keep pace with modern and current realities. While we wish all of us fruitful deliberations, please accept the warmest regards of the bodies of Attorneys General as worthy partners in the administration of justice in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Representative, or rather representing, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation. He is the senior, or rather the special assistant to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on special duties, Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, and Minister of Justice. A round of applause as we make welcome Wada Ahmed Wada, Esquire.
This is remarks by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Prince Lateef Olasukomi Fagbemi SAN. At the Public and Private Development Center, Access to Justice Parley and unveiling of the 2024 Justice Sector Assessment. It gives me a great pleasure to be part of this significant gathering at the Access to Justice Parley. The theme, Advancing Effective, Innovative, and Inclusive Justice Reforms in Nigeria, resonates deeply with our collective aspirations for our justice system and reflects the pressing need for evidence-based reforms in our sector.
But before we get into the keynote speech, it's important that we lay foundation before we get in. And helping me do that this morning is the programs manager, Kenechukwu Agu, Esquire. He will be helping us to set the tone, the Parley tone, and also citation of the keynote speaker. Please, a round of applause for Kenechukwu Agu.
This year's theme, Advancing Effective, Innovative, and Inclusive Justice Reforms in Nigeria, underscores the urgent need to address the challenges that impede access to justice to many Nigerians. As we gather here today, we have an opportunity to delve deep into the critical issues that affect our society. We must examine the systemic barriers that prevent individuals from accessing justice, including digital illiteracy, lack of digital infrastructure, poverty, discrimination, and corruption. By exploring innovative solutions and fostering collaboration among diverse stakeholders, we can work towards a more just and equitable society. This Parley will focus on strengthening the judiciary, enhancing the digital competence, efficiency, independence, and accountability of the judiciary. It will also focus on expanding access to legal aid, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their association, affiliations, socioeconomic status, have access to legal representation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you clap better, the learned silk will work faster. As I said, it's the only opportunity I have to ask a senior advocate to walk very fast to the podium.
It is indeed a privilege and an honor for me to be here. I thank PPDC for giving me such a platform. For me, I'm quite passionate about this area. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, partners, and stakeholders. It is an honor to welcome you all to the 2024 Access to Justice Parley, hosted by the Public and Private Development Center, PPDC, with the support of the U.S. Department of State Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. Today, we gather under the theme, Advancing Effective, Innovative, and Inclusive Justice Reforms in Nigeria, a topic of critical importance to our nation's present and future and the world at large.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you for that
very straight to the point speech.
Reports and the recommendations from your own personal view.
I must recognize that PPDC have done a lot in some states, which actually gave back to the thinking of the possibility of extending to other states. And those states where this was implemented, there's already good results, because we have seen the report is varying. Like the reports from those states is looking better than the indices we found in other states where PPDC has not done the work. So it means that PPDC is already doing well in their approach. But now that with this assessment, they need to look at it deeper and find better ways of achieving a total, success in changing the tides of the judicial system in Nigeria.
Because no matter how good our courts are, the court is the third point of call in the line of access to justice, especially criminal justice, because we're talking about people in detention. Now, about our governors, how we can assess them for funding. Well, I will say I'm supposed to be speaking for the executive, and I will. That is my instruction. I am supposed to wear the big shoes of the Attorney General. So I'll be careful so that I'll still... But the truth is this. There's need for advocacy to their excellencies, because sometimes budgets are presented monthly or yearly, as the case may be, but are the funds released? If they are released, are they adequate? Because as we're talking about technology, it means expenses is increasing.
Once you give birth to a child, that child belongs to you and the society. And the first port of call, his first teacher is his mother. So once the child has that parental upbringing, he is disciplined, he has something doing, he may not likely go into crime and be sent into prison, so that the burden will be much on all of us, try to get him out again, and tomorrow he will be there. So I think one key area we need to maybe dwell in and see to it that we really go into it is enlightening the society, by and large, the parents in particular, so that these words will have something doing and will be children of the future and better children, so that we have less crime in the society.
The first question will be going straight to my Lord Justice Aboki.
We all know that prior to the advent of the intervention by PPDC, criminal trials have been a great challenge, and sometimes a source of worry and an embarrassment to the institution of judiciary in Nigeria. It has been that area that constantly you hear people talk about delay in trials. You hear about people talk about the issue of congestion in our correctional centers. And why do we have this? We have this because the trials are not structured in such a way that we will have this fast-track process of attending to these criminal cases.
Like in my court, I know that the trials are now fast-tracked because of virtual hearing machines provided by PPDC. But in some places, they are still in the dark. And so maybe we can still be talking that, okay, one challenge that is very, very prominent is the fact that the trials are slow, because they can only be fast-tracked by the modus provided by PPDC.
What we intend to do by taking case management online is where the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Interior on their decks every day for everyone that has gone through pre-trial processes, why their cases have been adjourned, why the processes and all the processes that has to do with case management, you will see it on everyday basis. We intend to beat that process of 180 days. Now, for us, we want to change the narrative in corrections. And that is why I stay here and say to judiciary, you need to move fast. We are moving very fast in the corrections.
What is your inspiration for doing the job you do in advancing access to justice in Nigeria?
The inspiration for doing my work is really personal. I have a lived experience of what happens when the criminal justice system does not work.
and I decided to make a difference around it. Several years ago, my father found himself stuck in the criminal justice system. He was arrested for a crime he did not commit, and he spent time in detention because he could not afford a lawyer. I was a child at the time. So when he came out of detention, after a lot of back and forth with the police, he would usually joke and say that one of his children must become a lawyer. At that time, I was just about 8, but following several years after, I found myself becoming that child that went to study law.
And part of the issues we face is we agree that literacy level in Nigeria is very low. Then among the people who are educated, imagine the legal illiteracy level. If I ask a question here, generally, when do you get to renew your car license? Is it after expiration, before expiration, or on the date of expiration? We found out that, ask the question to the one close to you, found out that we don't know it, even among the legal community. So there is very high level of legal illiteracy.
Years ago, over 24 years ago, we were complaining of funding, lack of facilities, and the rest of them. What are the stories today after 24 years? Today, most of the speakers that spoke a while ago, they were talking about consolidation and sustainability. I know we've made progress, but a lot still needs to be done.
But I think one thing we do, or we need to do better, is we have to bring the media to the table as stakeholders in those conversations, just so that when reporting are done, they are done in an apt manner, reflecting the real essentials of those conversations. Also, trainings needs to be done, and that takes me to the intersectoral approach. While there's a need to train the media on justice-related reporting, we also need to think outside the box. Justice is not limited to the court, it's not limited to the corrections. It has to be a collaborative effort.
Let me say that the role of the student clinicians under the supervision of PPDC is something that is entirely mind-blowing. You know, what the students have done under the auspices of PPDC, first they will receive training, series of training on what the criminal justice system portends. And then again, equipped with the skills they need to participate.
I can say that it's been a wonderful experience, and I want to equally encourage other lawyers that it's not as bad or as scary as they think it is. It's actually another way of bringing out the real constitution, bringing it before them and reminding them of their Order 20 as amended, and equally saving life.
So I feel the challenges we face so far, especially in natural state, have to be language barrier. Because when we go for the interview, the correctional centers, most of the inmates only understand Hausa language. And on the other hand, most of the clinicians only understand English language. So even though there are people that help with translating when we go for interview, but some of the clinicians feel like they don't have the opportunity to relate directly with the inmates, so that connection is not really there.
Lacon staff cannot be everywhere at the same time. So it has really helped to increase legal representation to the indigent and the vulnerable groups out there. Yeah, it has also helped to create awareness on the mission of Lacon and letting people know their rights, and also created awareness on social justice.
The more courtrooms fitted with virtual hearing facilities, speech-to-text facilities, better collaboration with our stakeholders, police, and other security agencies, and then better record keeping.
To me, I don't like seeing people suffering for nothing. So that passion is there because when I was growing up, I know there are certain things my mom suffered after my dad passed. So that gave me that passion to say, I want to help indigent people. It's not about the money, but it's when someone tells you thank you, it goes a long way.
Not very much interested in continuing providing legal representation
for patriarchy means also improving the justice system in Nigeria. Thank you so much to all the panelists. That will be the end for this panel session. Thank you so much.
For PPDC, we are committed to work on access to justice. We have a very open mind. We are not looking at working on access to justice just today. I want, by the time the Lord calls me home, I want to know that there's a PPDC still focused on the ideals that we're speaking about today. So we mean it. We mean the partnership with you. We want to go all the way with you, just like we want to go with those young people. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you everybody, every stakeholder, all the CSOs and all the partners that are working with us. God bless you.
Thank you.